Okay, so this video I want to talk about the financial cost of being obsessive compulsive. Um, I'm not going to be able to tally these down to like really specific numbers. It's just not going to happen. Um, but I can at least maybe give you some insight into what how being obsessive compulsive makes things harder, not just because you have to deal with germs and lots of anxiety and often depression as well, but also because it can cause like extreme poverty, and that tends to perpetuate symptoms. So that's fun also. Um, but yeah. So I guess well, since I'm wearing gloves, I might as well talk about gloves. These are latex gloves. You can get plastic gloves pretty cheaply, so that's not too bad. They're like $5 for like a package of 25, I think, pairs. Um, so like five, yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'll look later. Um, so it's not terribly expensive unless you use them all the time, like you use them every single day. I tend to try to reuse my gloves because of that reason, and I am worried about not only like contamination on me, but I'm also worried about spreading contamination. So I'll often like wash my hands with the gloves on so that I can handle other things and not contaminate them. Yeah. So I guess we could talk about soap. Soap can be a huge thing. Like a lot of times you can get cheap $1 soaps, but like if you're doing a lot of cleaning, then you could run out in like a week and have to replace it. So like, yeah. Then of course, like if you get special types of soap that you feel like will do a better job cleaning, then that's more expensive. Paper towels, those are expensive. Like you can get like a cheap roll for like $1 or two, but you can go through them kind of quickly. Disinfectant wipes. So you like a can of disinfectant wipes. You can get one of like 75 for like $5. I have I tend to get like the 3 packs that have like total of 175, 200, whatever wipes, and that costs like $10. Then Lysol, like even just like off-brand Lysol is like at least $2, sometimes $3. Like got like cheap cleaner that's like $1, but like still run out of that kind of quickly. Like there's rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol costs money. Hydrogen peroxide costs money. Bleach costs money. All these things cost money. If you need to carry around hand sanitizer, need to carry around hand wipes, like hand sanitizer costs money, hand wipes costs money, everything costs money, and then I fortunately don't have to pay for my water bills yet, but I probably soon will, and I use a lot of water, so with all the water that I use, that costs a lot of money, probably, I assume, using up more like shampoo, body wash, face wash, whatever. I use a lot more of that than most people, so that costs money. Everything costs money. That's hard. I don't like I mostly in my room whenever I eat like in my room or something. I mostly use like plastic cups or like silverware or just whatever, bowls, sometimes paper plates and stuff. I don't really use plates, bowls, because ramen, things like that. Those cost money, and of course you have to replace them. I'm trying to think like what all the kinds of cleaners that I have to use and how much they cost. But it like depends, I guess. I don't know what it is. Oh, there's lotion, like lotion, moisturizer, Vaseline. Those cost money. Neosporin. Gotta use like all those things to heal whenever your hands start to bleed all over the place. And that costs money. Go figure. Then there's like, I wash my clothes a lot more than most people. Sometimes I'll wash them several times in a row, especially if like someone takes them out or like touches it before like I'm done. In which case then I have to do it again. Laundry detergent costs a lot of money actually. That's a really big cost. Laundry detergent, so much money. It's like $10 for like a big one, which I'll use up in like a couple loads depending on how contaminated my things feel like they are. So that's hard. But it yeah, that costs money. And then it means that I have to replace my clothes more often. I don't have money for that, but it costs money still. And then a lot of people I know, to cut down on clothing costs, will shop at thrift stores, or they'll shop like at secondhand clothing shops. Contamination obsessions, I can't do that. I have to get new things whenever I get them, so I try to find the cheapest possible things, because I can't afford things in general. I can't afford my life. So then they'll end up like I'll get them and use them and wear them, and they wear out quicker, I guess. But I mean, it's still like the only thing that I can afford. That sucks. Then there's always like the cost of replacing all the things that you've ever ruined, or contaminated to where you couldn't use it again. Like I go through pencils like a lot. Actually, I can do with like a couple big packages of pencils for like a whole year. I just have like a couple. So I normally get like the cheap lead pencils that are like $5 for like 20 or whatever. I don't know. But like if I drop one, then like that's it. Done with that. Sometimes I try to wash them. Okay, I do try to wash them, but yeah. Books. Like, sometimes I'm okay with used books. Sometimes, depending on how clean they are and where I feel like they've been and how, I don't know, all that. Sometimes. A lot of times I have to get new books because I can't deal with not having new books. Can't do library books. Cannot do library books. Nope. But so books cost a lot of money. Let's see, what other things cost a lot of money. I guess like tissues, Q-tips. I don't really have any more of those like pad things that you use for like your face or stuff, like the cotton balls. I don't really have any of those, I don't think, left, but those are expensive. Oh, USB cords for like charging cell phones and stuff. Like I clean mine a lot, because especially if they'll like fall on the floor, like sometimes I will let a friend use my charger if they're like visiting my room or something, and then they'll unplug their phone and let it fall on the floor, and I'm just like, no. And then after cleaning it so much, they kind of like break. So then I have to replace that, and that's like at least $5, depending on how lucky you are to find a cheap one. The same kind of thing goes with like headphones, I guess. And then there's like actually breaking things themselves, by using too much, like by washing things. I've heard of a lot of people breaking like cell phones and stuff a lot because they couldn't help but wash them. I have had issues where like I couldn't help but wash things, even if they're like electronic things. There have only been a few times when I've like actually submersed my things underwater because I just couldn't deal. And the phone that I have now is kind of miraculous for like, because it keeps coming back and working, but it takes a long time sometimes. Sometimes it like dries everything out. It just like it won't charge properly or something, and then it takes a while to dry out and work again. I got a new phone at some point last semester, and I was trying really hard not to let it touch the floor or anything, and then something happened with one of my friends, I think, and it fell on the floor, and I tried to like clean it with a wipe, and it stopped working like a couple hours later, so I kind of assumed that it was water damage, and when I looked inside the battery, like on the indicator thing, it had a pink thing, but I didn't think that that kind of surface treatment would do that. I guess I was wrong. I'm gonna take these off now because they're kind of bothering me now, and ow. And they're getting all like gritty. But like, yeah, there's my hands. They've got like all this gritty on it. That's the problem with latex gloves. They'll do that. They'll like make you put like moisturizer on and then your latex gloves, and then they roll everything into like balls on there. It's weird. So vinyl gloves are actually a little bit better for that, just in case you wanted to know. So yeah, cost of replacing things that you kind of fuck up by like washing too much. That's money. That happens like with notebooks also. Like sometimes I'll just replace a notebook because I can't deal with the notebook. It's like not clean. Like paper, okay, paper, you can't clean paper, so like that's like the worst possible situation. You don't want to get your paper ruined. But that happens. And then of course like I end up having to buy so many things to like replace everything. I end up having to buy so many cleaners. It costs so much money. And I'm poor, I cannot afford this. And then whenever I am fortunate enough to get a job, people just assume like, well, now you can pay for everything, right? But it's like, well, I'm working a job, like a part-time job over the summer. That's not going to pay for my entire year worth of everything, because that can be really expensive. But yeah, it just depends. And so it's just like really frustrating when like sometimes people think it's no big deal, that they don't have to be careful around me and end up messing up my things, and then I have to clean them, and it isn't just a time and anxiety burden, it's also a financial burden, and people just don't realize that, which is frustrating, but it's a huge financial burden. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm sure I'll probably think of things later. I could talk about like how much time obsessive compulsives on average like miss work. I think we're estimated to lose like 3 years worth of wages from like times when we've just been too anxious to not gone to work, not been able to go, so miss that money. Same kind of thing goes if like I miss the dining hall, can't do it, and then I have to pay for my own food. Costs money. Like pretty much everything costs money. Being obsessive compulsive is hard financially, and then you can pay for like medication and therapy and all that. It's expensive. But yeah, I have gone on about money long enough, I'm sure. So I'm just gonna stop right now and try to get back to my homework. Thanks for listening. Bye.